Before mankind built a single city, before we drew a single map, something else already owned this planet. Not nations. Not kings. Beasts. 10 of them, recorded independently across 10 different civilizations that never met, never traded, and never shared a language, and yet they all described the same terrifying truth: something enormous ruled the sky, the sea, and the earth before we ever showed up. Some of these things were never declared myth. They were declared warnings. Stay to the end, because beast number 7 still shows up on radar. If you like uncovering the things history tried to bury, subscribe right now. This channel exists to dig up exactly this kind of forgotten truth every single week. Beast 1, Leviathan. The Book of Job describes it as a creature, made without fear, scaled like rows of shields, powerful enough that no man could ever hook it. The Hebrews called it Leviathan. But the description didn't stay in one place. Ugaritic texts from Syria describe an almost identical seven-headed sea serpent called Lotan, defeated only by a storm god. Scandinavian sailors, Japanese fishermen, and 19th-century whalers all independently reported the same thing: something massive and intelligent moving beneath the water, powerful enough to sink ships on purpose. Here's how it ruled. For most of human history, the ocean was the largest unconquered space on Earth. Leviathan was the symbolic king of that space, and old maps marked unexplored waters with sea monsters for a functional reason. It kept humans out. A myth that controls where an entire species will and won't travel isn't just a story. That's real power. Beast 2, Behemoth. In that same Book of Job, right next to Leviathan, sits its land-bound counterpart, Behemoth. Described as God's first great creation on land, with bones like bronze tubes and a tail like a cedar tree, Behemoth was said to move mountains just by grazing near them. Scholars have spent centuries debating what real animal could have inspired it: hippopotamus, elephant, even dinosaur bones ancient peoples may have unearthed and had no framework to explain. Behemoth ruled through sheer immovability. Where Leviathan controlled the unknown ocean, Behemoth represented the untamable wilderness, swamps, plains, and mountain ranges too dangerous for early humans to settle. Ancient peoples didn't need to see it to fear it, they needed only to find bones too large to belong to anything they recognized, and build a kingdom of fear around the gap in their knowledge. Beast 3, Jormungandr. In Norse mythology, the gods feared one creature so much they threw it into the ocean at birth, hoping it would never be found. It grew so large it encircled the entire world, biting its own tail, the world serpent, Jörmungandr. The Vikings believed the day it finally released its tail would be the first sign of Ragnarok, the end of the world itself. This beast ruled through inevitability. It wasn't a threat you avoided, it was a countdown you couldn't stop. Every Norse sailor who crossed open water was, according to their own belief system, sailing directly above the spine of a creature large enough to hold the planet together. That's not folklore for children. That's an entire seafaring culture living with the idea that the world's structural integrity depended on one sleeping monster staying calm. Beast 4, Tiamat. Go back further, to ancient Mesopotamia, and you find the beast that didn't just threaten the world, she created it. Tiamat, the primordial chaos dragon of Babylonian myth, was said to be the personification of the salt sea itself, mother of the first gods. When a younger god, Marduk, finally killed her in battle, he split her body in two: one half became the sky, the other became the earth. Tiamat's rule wasn't territorial. It was foundational. Every mountain, every ocean, every horizon ancient Babylonians looked at was, in their belief, literally made from a defeated monster's body. You weren't just living in a world Tiamat threatened, you were living inside her corpse. Beast 5, Phoenix. Not every ancient beast ruled through fear. The phoenix, first recorded in Egyptian and later Greek mythology, ruled through something rarer: permanence. Said to live for hundreds of years before consuming itself in flame and rising reborn from its own ashes, the phoenix was less a predator and more a law of nature given feathers, proof that some things in the ancient world were considered literally impossible to kill permanently. Egyptian priests associated it with the sun god Ra and the daily death and rebirth of the sun itself. That's the kind of rule most beasts on this list never achieved, not fear of an attack, but the quiet, unshakable belief that no matter what happened, this thing would always come back. Beast 6, Garuda. In Hindu and Buddhist tradition, the sky had a king too, Garuda, a massive eagle-like being large enough to blot out the sun with its wingspan, sworn enemy of serpents called Nagas. Garuda is often depicted as the mount of the god Vishnu, which tells you exactly how seriously ancient cultures across South and Southeast Asia took this creature's power. Even a god chose to ride it into battle rather than face it as an enemy. Garuda ruled the space between the serpent beasts of the earth and the divine order of the heavens. Entire temple carvings across Indonesia, Thailand, and India, some over 1,000 years old, still depict this beast locked in eternal combat with serpents, a war ancient peoples believed was still happening, just too far above the clouds to see. Beast 7, Thunderbird. Here's the one I promised you. Across dozens of indigenous North American nations, from the Pacific Northwest to the Great Plains, a massive bird is described independently, again and again, the Thunderbird. Its wing beats were said to cause thunder, its eyes flash lightning. Some oral histories describe it battling enormous horned serpents beneath lakes, echoing the same serpent versus sky beast pattern found on the other side of the world in Garuda. But here's the part that keeps this one alive today. Reports of massive unidentified birds, some estimated at wingspans over 15 feet, are still occasionally filed in rural parts of North America, including modern radar and pilot sightings that never get a clean explanation. Whether it's a myth, a misidentified condor, or something else, the Thunderbird is the one beast on this list some people insist never fully left. Beast 8, Basilisk. In ancient Greek and Roman writing, one small creature is described as more dangerous than anything else on this list, not because of its size, but because of a single glance. The basilisk, king of serpents, was said to kill instantly with its gaze or breath, its venom so potent it could poison water sources and kill plants just by passing over them. Pliny the Elder wrote that even other snakes fled at the sound of it moving. The basilisk ruled through unavoidability. You couldn't outrun a curse carried on eye contact. Medieval bestiaries claimed the only defense was a weasel, or a mirror, turning the creature's own gaze back on itself. When your only defense against something is deflection, not confrontation, that's a beast that has already won the psychological war before the fight starts. Beast 9, Kraken. By the time European sailors reached the age of exploration, Leviathan had a modern cousin, the Kraken. First recorded in Scandinavian sailor accounts, described as large enough to be mistaken for an island, capable of pulling entire ships beneath the waves with dozens of massive limbs. Norwegian Bishop Erik Pontoppidan wrote about it seriously in the 1750s, not as folklore, but as a documented maritime hazard. The Kraken ruled the open ocean during the exact era humans were becoming confident enough to cross it. And it wasn't purely invention. Giant squid, real animals that can grow over 40 feet long, weren't scientifically confirmed until the 1800s. For centuries, sailors were reporting something entirely real, just badly understood, and the fear the Kraken generated shaped naval caution for 200 years. Beast 10, Quetzalcoatl. And finally, in Mesoamerica, a feathered serpent unlike anything else on this list. Quetzalcoatl, worshipped by the Aztec, Toltec, and earlier Mesoamerican cultures, wasn't purely a monster to fear. He was a creator god, associated with wind, learning, and the rebirth of civilization itself, often depicted as a snake covered in the iridescent feathers of the Quetzal bird. Quetzalcoatl ruled through legitimacy. Political power in Mesoamerica was directly tied to this beast. Rulers claimed descent from him, priests built entire calendars around his mythology, and entire cities like Teotihuacan built temples specifically oriented to his legend. This wasn't a monster hiding in the dark. This was a beast whose myth built empires. 10 beasts. 10 civilizations. 0 contact with each other. And yet the same patterns keep showing up, a serpent that threatens the world, a bird that rules the sky, a monster whose power comes just from being unknown. Maybe these were never separate myths. Maybe every ancient culture on Earth was independently trying to describe the same fear, that something was here before us, and we've spent our entire history pretending we're in charge. So here's my question for you, out of these 10, which one do you actually think has the best chance of being based on something real? Drop it in the comments, I read every single one. And if this kept you watching till the end, subscribe now. Next time we go deep on just one of these, starting with the beast that has actual naval reports behind it. Hit the bell so you don't miss it.